show them every move. Gambling ain't an option, hustle hard and never fake. Weekends of legends, don't even take a break. No recordings, live and direct. Trading warriors, future bosses, all in a lens. Swing trade, day trades, long holes we feast. Michael G the beast, turning students into priests. Who kept warriors in the room, Hunger Games commence. Knowledge is our weapon, trading no nonsense.
GM everyone, and welcome to the 13th installment of the Weekend Workshop. Weekend Warriors, let's fucking go. Alright, how are we all? Good. Well, this one's going to be a fucking banger. I can guarantee you of that. Now, I feel like there's going to have to be 4 or 5 market structure weekend workshops after building out this one and trying to keep it somewhat brief. There are many different aspects to it, so yeah. This one's going to be G though. GM's in the chat. W's in the chat. All right. Let's give it a couple seconds, let some people get in. Okay. Hustlin' Justin. Here's the fan. I don't hear any fan. Now, let's go. Okay, so alright, Felfit tagging me. What's there? Bro. Trading only, unless you want to get banned. Don't be a dickhead. We have rules here. If anyone in leadership sees that, you know the rules. You're here long enough. All right. So, today's weekend workshop is advanced market structure. So if you're a brand new trader, you haven't traded before, this is going to be confusing and it's going to be overly complex. Or not overly complex, I would say. It's going to seem extremely complex, right? These streams are not necessarily suitable for everyone at every stage. Right? If you're in white belt, focus on white belt, focus on building the foundation first. Absolutely take notes, because of course this will only be up for the weekend. Take notes and keep your notes on file for later on. But yeah, I usually get a lot of questions after, and it typically is along the line of, Michael, that made no sense to me. I was like, that's fine, right? That's fine. Yeah? So you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to understand it in depth at the beginning. So we'll just get that out of the way. W's in the chat for that. All right. Less of the Zoomer culture. I am an old boomer. So today I'm going to do the usual lesson. I'll run through that. I will also open up the live questions channel for questions. Now remember, if you're asking a question here, make sure it is related to the lesson that I do as I go through it. Okay? And I will answer them after. Now, I think there'll be a follow-up. Well, I don't think. There will be a follow-up. There will probably be a couple of follow-ups because there's a bunch of other stuff I can cover in this. But at the same time, there is more than enough alpha in this stream for you to go and implement. And another thing I need to mention, which comes along a lot, which is you can get information overload. There's a new weekend workshop every weekend. They're on different topics. I said this during the week. Very, very important that you remember that you must focus on specific areas and try not to get ahead of things and try not to change what you're doing too often. The goal of a weekend workshop is not for you to see it and every week think this is the thing I should be doing. It's if you find something useful or interesting that you can apply to what you're already doing, perfect. If you find something very, very interesting for later on, take your notes, note it down, and practice it after. But don't feel like you have to implement whatever is on this week's stream, because of course that would mean that every single week for 13 weeks you're doing something different, which isn't necessarily the best way to do it. So white belts, predominantly focus on white belt and take notes and save them for later. Blue belts, really good system ideas here if you are thinking of a new style to trade, because at blue belt you absolutely can try out different things and you should, and then for everybody else you know what to do. So GM, I'm going to get right into it. Questions. Just a reminder, if you ask a question in here that is not related to the stream, I will not answer it. Okay? Good. Let's go. Advanced market structure, GM. So, first of all, let me explain what market structure is. I have lessons on it. Go watch them. Done. So, in white belt, and really, so everyone who's gone through the boot camp at almost any stage, if you're like 2 weeks into boot camp, if you're in the first couple of weeks of boot camp, don't worry about this, it will come. And for anyone who has gone through my basic market structure lessons, the introduction, you know what Dow theory is, you know about higher highs and higher lows, you know about market structure breaks, BOS, MSB, change of character, all that kind of stuff. So everybody should have an understanding of what market structure is. It's essentially how you denote a trend, higher highs, higher lows, and if that reverses, lower highs, lower lows, uptrend will have higher highs, higher lows, downtrend will have lower highs and lower lows. Everything in between is a consolidation, where it is going sideways. So, but what you'll realize as you trade and as you progress through your career as a trader is that the expectation versus reality of what market structure looks like can be very, very different and extremely confusing if your mind is tied into a very rigid view of what market structure should look like. So, the expectation is typically what you see on the screen. Most people's expectation of market structure forms something like this, where you have very clear high and a low, and a very clear high and a low, and a higher low, right? And even when you look at it on a candlestick chart, it's still pretty easy to understand, right? It's clear highs, clear lows, moving up in a nice, orderly fashion. And I was going to originally call this conventional wisdom versus reality, but that would sort of imply that this is wrong. This is not wrong. This is not in any way wrong. This is what you would call perfect market structure or classic market structure, whatever you want to call it. It's not that once you get into the idea of the market doesn't generally look like this and the charts don't typically follow this nice clean structure, it's easy to go all the way the other way where you start thinking, oh, it's never going to do this, right? It's always going to be messy and choppy and confusing. No, it's not. Sometimes market structure is very clean, very simple. But what it won't do, almost ever, is follow like textbook classical trending structure, which is, let's say there's a large uptrend, like a large move up, and then a pull back to the 61.8, the Fibonacci retracement, the golden pocket or whatever, and then another big impulse candle, and then another 61.8, and you just buy the 61.8, and you put your stop at the lows, and you target new highs, and it's just this perfect, easy way to make money. It can happen, but it doesn't tend to. So the reality looks more like this, which is just madness, a mess, confusing. Either like this, we have a very strong trend with shallow pullbacks, if not even no pullbacks, and instead of a pullback, you get a sideways consolidation, which is a consolidation, is valid, but doesn't give a deep correction, and then continues higher, makes a new high, but then has a deep dip. And you look at it on the line chart and it looks great. You look at it on the candlestick chart, and there's a massive wick that would take out everybody's stops, even down below the last supposed structure level. And then it goes